Hello and welcome to another video, and it's going to be another technical video today. I'm doing two today, to be honest. I've just done the DC04 where I've stripped it down to the motor to show how we would change the motor. And I said in that one that I might do the same with a DC07 or a DC03. And I had the DC03 down here, to be honest. I hadn't put it away in the loft since the last time I'd used it, so the DC07's in the loft at the moment, so it would have to be got down, and I decided, well, why not try exactly the same thing with the DC03? I think I've done this once before, a long time ago. I wanted to see how it worked inside, so I stripped it down, but literally I just picked it off the floor in there, brought it in here, and we will try and attempt to get the bottom open, see what type of motor it's got in it, see what the motor looks like now, and go from there really. So much in the same fashion that I did the DC04, I will start this one by removing the handle, the canisters, the tools, strip it down to the point where it'll make it easier for me to turn it upside down to get the floor head off, because I'd imagine that this probably comes off in a very similar way to the DC04. So I haven't got a lot of experience in stripping this particular model down. I've only ever took this apart once before, as I say. So let's get started with it by, first of all, positioning the camera down as I would normally do. Okay, I think that's about it, and we will start by removing the handle and cable first as well. And it's a very similar looking hose end, to be honest, to the DC04, that is. Let's put that out of the way. Move my cable so I don't keep stepping on it. Right, okay, let's have the bin off as well. And that bin's seen better days, to be honest. The handle's broken on that, the little catch, so I could do with putting some more duct tape on that. Now what we're going to do, actually I should turn that back round so that it's facing the camera before I do that. This is basically, let's just check, yes we can see that, that's fine. The hose will come off, but when it comes off it will bring the what do they call this now, the changeover valve with it. So to get that off we would just pull the back yellow clip towards us, it would pull down and then pull out. So here essentially you've got the changeover valve. Now what happens is that this comes up from the floor head and enters that through that there. The suction from the bin comes down the spine to this point here where my finger is pointing, just there. So effectively, when that's in, the suction comes from this port here. So it can either be sucked through there, but if that is closed off, as it would be when the machine is stood upright like so, because you can't see the opening from there. There's the opening. When it's in the upright position, that goes to there. Effectively then the air has to come through that port there, which is where the bottom of the pipe is. But when the pipe is in there, that blocks off that suction port as well. Okay, so that's why it hisses on top of the bin through that suction relief valve. But as soon as you pull this pipe out, that frees that port there. It's a bit difficult to explain really, but basically that's how that works. It's just a very, very fundamental, rudimentary changeover valve, that. And we put the hose out of the way. So now what can we remove? I think what we'll remove is the 3 tools as well. So we'll take the 1, 2, 3 tools out and put those over to one side. I don't think this comes off that easily, this top handle. Not quite sure on that one. Let's take the filter out as well while we're at it. The filter, we can't quite see that, can we? What we're going to do to remove the filter, I did show this on my DC03 demo the other night, but basically you push this tab across to there, the filter casing drops down, and we're able to remove by just wiggling from side to side, and it'll slide out, and there's the pre-motor filter in its cartridge case. So we'll put that to one side there as well. I explain more about that on my DC03 review. Basically all we're doing at the moment is it's sort of a strip down so we can get down to the motor on it. Right, so now I think everything that we need to take off the top is off. I'm going to turn it upside down and we're going to have a look at it from the base. And there goes the other filter. I should have known that would fall out. That's a bit more difficult now. That won't sit on the floor the same way as the DC04 did. It's not quite got as long as a spine, so it looks like I might have to do that. Let's just clear myself some more space, and then I can lay it flat, can't I, and have a look. Let's see if the camera can see. Just about, yes, I think it can. Really I could do with a camera directly over the workbench, but there's no way I could possibly do that in this room. Let's take the sole plate off first. Is it a bit closer maybe, and then angle it down on more of a vertical? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Let's take this off then. We've got 1, 2. Oh, I've done that wrong, haven't I? That's it, that's unlocked. I don't know why there's 1 grey one there and 2 yellow ones. And that comes off like that, so that removes our sole plate. Have we got the same type of clutch cover as we had on the other one? We have, yeah. Don't think it's going to be necessary for me to remove the wheel on this though, surely. Let's just have a look and see how easy it would be removing that wheel. That's basically a circlip underneath there. I don't think... Now obviously I need to remove the clutch cover, which is 1, 2, 3 screws there, but it won't come off because that wheel's blocking it. Seriously, have I got to take the wheel off this? Looks like it, doesn't it? We'll just have to snap that circlip off the end of here. That's circlip. So what we've done is taken that little tiny circlip off the end of the wheel here. I'll just have to put the wheel and the circlip's inside the wheel, and put that over here, and then I should be able to, yes, I can pull the axle, basically, that axle, I can push it back into the machine like that, and that will give access then to be able to get the clutch cover off. Because what we've got, when we look down at it, is here's the brush roll here, We've got the same similar type of fitting on the end to remove the hinge, to remove the main plate, the sole plate, the floor head, whatever you want to call it. But the other one here is hidden behind the clutch cover, and obviously that's where the spindle is. So we would need to remove our brush roll. Then looks like I would need to remove one Torx screw there, one in there, and one there. So I'm going to now remove the brush roll and the belt. Well, I'll remove the brush roll from the belt, from the clutch belt, and then I'm going to remove these 3 screws and remove that cover. Let's just pull the machine a little bit further down again so that it's directly under the camera. There we go. As I said before, it's pretty difficult trying to do filming like this when you've only got limited places to put the camera. So again, I'm going to have my T15 Torx screwdriver, and I'm going to undo the 3 screws. 1, 2, 3. Let's have the brush roll out as well, so I'll remove that up and I shall pull the end cap. Oh blimey, that's full of dirt, isn't it? Pull the end cap off. That'll need to be vacuumed before it goes back in. That's probably from the big mess test I did the other day. So remove the axle, the spindle, whatever you want to call that. I haven't got the big vacuum in, so I'll have to just use the small one. That one the dirt's just fallen out of already, so I can just vacuum that up. Nice and right. And now I can just slide in the same fashion I did with the DC04 the brush roll out. Okay, just slide it out that way. Put the brush rolls to one side. So now I should be able to, theoretically, remove, it looks like there's an awful lot of stuff. Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it? All this actually comes off together. So there is the clutch out, the clutch cover come off in one piece, and you can see the entire of the clutch in there. So that will be removed, and then what we can do by the looks of things, how does that clutch knob come off? Let's have a look. Let's get a small screwdriver into there. I've never taken this off before, this clutch, but I would imagine that that knob pops off in exactly the same sort of way . It doesn't look like it wants to be honest. Without the risk of breaking it completely, I'm going to have to leave that on because it doesn't look like I actually need to remove the clutch from there in order to get the floor head off. It's just a matter of taking the belt off. Here's the belt here. Can we see? Yeah, so I'm going to slide that off the spindle, like so. And then find out that that's actually broken. Yeah, that's snapped. So that gives me a bit of a problem, that does. That means that that is going to have to be repaired somehow or other. Because that's very thin, brittle plastic, and that is one of the perils of ABS. That's what happens when things get old, they break. And I haven't really been rough with that either, so let's take it off the other side. Is there a particular way? Yes, it does. So that basically will, in this down position, pull off in the same fashion as the DC04 did. So there we have the floor head removed, and the clutch itself, I suppose now the clutch could be removed by just simply pulling it out like so, and that's got the, I don't know how to get that knob off there. There must be a special way of doing that to get that knob. Now this has got a date on it of the 18th of July 2003 on there. So this is not the original clutch to this machine, because the machine's got a date of 1097 in it. So this has been replaced before, this clutch has. How about that? Let's put the clutch to one side. What I'm going to have to do, where's that little broken piece gone? There it is. Now you see, that will have to be, I'll have to mix up some araldite to repair that with. That's a bit of a pisser, that's a bit of a shame. So what I'm going to have to do is use some of this. Get my araldite mixing screwdriver, which is here, it's covered in araldite, and we're going to have to try and repair that. So I need a scrap piece of cardboard to mix it on, and I'll just have a see if I can find one of those. So just find a piece of cardboard like that, and I will have to hope this hasn't all gone hard inside here and will come out as it should. Unfortunately, one side came out more than the other side, and it's supposed to come out in equal proportions. Horrible stuff. The only trouble is I haven't got any super glue left at the moment, otherwise I'd be able to try and super glue that. I'm not even sure that araldite will hold. I mean, it's strong stuff once it's gone off. As long as you mix it right. I wasn't planning to have to do this on this video, to be honest, but this is the trouble when you've got old machines and you start taking them apart, and then you find there's more problems with them than you initially thought. So we can take our araldite now and we can get it on the screwdriver. I've made far more here than I needed to, because unfortunately when you push that plunger down, more was coming out of one side and nothing was coming out of the other, and you need an equal proportion of the two to be able to mix. It's called an epoxy resin, and it's 1 part hardener with 1 part actual resin, so that when it goes off it becomes very hard and a really good bond. So get it nice and firmly onto there. Some onto here as well. There's no even guarantee that this will work. So I need to just have that held in position until that goes off, and that could be a few minutes. So let's just
push that together. And I will smear it around with the screwdriver. On the side. So yes, it's going to be a case of being very gentle with this when I put it back together again. Right, well, to put that to one side now, and that can be left to harden. And that I don't think we need for anything else on here at the moment. I don't think anything else needs any more araldite, so wipe your screwdriver off. And just leave that over there as well. Okie dokie, right, where were we? So, I'm just back in a sec. No, I didn't have any super glue, so if that does come apart I'm going to be a little bit stuck with that. Looks like we might have to order a new or a replacement, or look for another machine basically, because this one is going to need a new floor head if that won't repair. But it doesn't stop us getting the motor out anyway and having a look at that, and we can have a say. So let me just have a look here. What we've got on the bottom of here is 8 screws. We've got effectively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they're all Torx, so I'm going to start by taking all of those out now. Shouldn't take too long to do. 1, 'But it just goes to prove my point, though, doesn't it, with the with that housing there, about just how fragile now these machines are getting. Where the thin parts are, and because it's very brittle ABS, just the slightest pressure on something sometimes can snap it off. And it's not even like what you call being careless, because sometimes that's how you have to remove them, and if the plastic won't flex enough, it snaps. So there's... we do the ones underneath, so I'll turn it over to do them. And we've got another 4 under here. One. Yeah, it's only apparently it's a 700 watt motor in here, and I can't remember what it even looks like because it's been that long now since I've had this thing to pieces last. There we go. So now what we can do is just pull this down like that, and then all the screws will drop out, and we just count. We've got 8 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's absolutely beautiful, that. So that is our motor cover. There's the ratings plate on it, by the way. The camera is getting... It doesn't seem to focus very well on these things anymore. I don't think this camera's that much good now. There we go, it's finally managed to do it. See how slow it is though at focusing. It's not the best anymore, is it? Okay, so we'll just check on that repair. not quite hardened yet. I hope it does. Seems to be starting to go off a little bit on the cardboard there. Okay. Right, so it should be just a matter now of being able to slide the motor down and out of the case, like so. And there is the fan case seal. Isn't it tiny? That is such a tiny motor. And then remove that seal, just taking a note there of how that went back in. So it's like you've got a motor retainer there with like a castellated top on it, and that part there is the part that goes upwards towards the top of the machine. So if I put that to one side in that position, it reminds me then that it will go like that. Then what I need to do is just to remove the two wires from there. Let's just pull the camera down, see those wires. So we've got the wires that come out of the case there, and we've got a brown and a blue, and the blue is attached to the white and the brown is attached to the grey, so that there is the type of motor. Look, it's a YV920. Okie dokie. I can't see what possible date that might be from there. There we have the thermal cutout on the side, and we can just simply remove the motor by unclipping one wire and unclipping the other wire, and there we go. So that basically is how we would remove the motor from a DC03. And I bet it's been quite some time since people have seen a motor that small. But we knew it would be small because it had to fit into that tiny little gap. And if I move the machine up, we can see there is where the air is drawn in. So that looks like, yes, so that comes round and goes up that centre pipe. The suctions are drawn through the centre pipe there and into that pre-motor filter, which is normally located there. As I said on the demonstration I did the other night, that was how the airflow went. And then that sort of crescent shaped hole there, that sort of half moon shape, that is where the exhaust air blows through. So it blows out of that gap into that chamber there, and then goes into the exhaust filter to be filtered out to the outside world. So really, I mean, there you can see up the spine, that is where your dirt channel goes. So the dirt goes straight up the middle of the spine there, and it comes out at the top here, and that's where it would enter the cyclone. And then when the air's gone through the cyclone and been sucked through, it comes through that port there, and then on the back basically it looks like we've got a blockage inspection port, and I'm not sure how that comes off, presumably like that. So you've got three clips on there, and that removes the blockage inspection port. So now we can see the air comes from the cyclone into there, down that channel, into that hole, and out of there into the pre-motor filter. So there we see exactly the workings of the DC03. Right, so we will carry this on for the reassembly in part 2 of the video, and I'll see you then.